Welcome to the Diary of the 1%, a podcast for those who refuse to settle for the ordinary and are determined to create a life of excellence. If you have ever wondered what stepped up achievers apart from the rest, you are in the right place. I am your host, and my name is Rachel Wilson. This is episode 6 of this podcast, and the title is Stop Outsourcing Your Life. Have you ever felt deeply convinced about something? An idea, a dream, a decision, only to talk yourself out of it after asking too many people for their opinion? I've been there. I have learned my lesson, often the hard way, that the more we outsource our decision, the more disconnected we become from ourselves. In this piece, I want to share a few lessons about the power of trusting your God, making your own decision, and building the kind of confidence that only comes when you choose for you. I remember a time in my life when I was at a crossroad. It was not the kind that came with flashing signs or clear instructions. No, this was one of those quiet inward battles. I had an idea. I felt something strong in my spirit, nudging me towards a path. It was not popular and it definitely wasn't conventional. So like many of us do, I started to ask people, what do you think? Some said, that's not realistic. Some said, are you sure that's what you want? If you want, what if you fail? And I paused. The noise became louder than the inner voice that first sparked the idea. The more I asked, the more confused I got. Days passed, then weeks, and eventually the fire dimmed. Not because it was not the right decision, but because I let so many voices drown out my own. And that's how I learned. Not every opinion matters. Sometimes asking people what they think is the fastest way to talk yourself out of something you were meant to do. You know that instinct inside you, that thing we often call a gut feeling. It's real. It's your intuition, your inner compass. And here is the truth. It's right more times than it's wrong. When you start depending on it, even in the smallest things, something beautiful happens. You begin to trust yourself. And when you trust yourself, you begin to live more boldly and authentically. Start small. Start from making decisions like what to eat, what to wear, where to go. Make those little decisions without consulting anyone, without checking in with the world. It might seem insignificant, but each small choice builds confidence. Even when you get it wrong, it becomes a lesson you learn, not the mistake someone else led you into. And that's the key. Looking back, many of the decisions I regret were not the ones I made on my own. They were the ones I made because I did not want to disappoint someone, or I was trying to play it safe, or worse, trying to be wise by over-consulting. I've cried the hardest tears from leaving someone else's suggestion. I've wrestled with God or find it out to forgive myself because of decisions I made. And I can't boldly own, but I am facing the consequences. And I've learned that when others choose for you, it's you who live with the consequences, not them. So if you're going to ask for help or seek advice, make sure you are asking a professional. Ask the right people. If it's an issue that has to do with health, ask a doctor. If it's a legal issue, ask a lawyer. If it's a business idea, ask someone who understands the market. If it's about life, ask the giver and the creator of life. But don't go about asking your neighbor about your dream just because they are around. Proximity does not equal relevance. Have you ever seen kids who grow up on the street? There's something raw and powerful about them. One thing I have noticed, they are confident in their own decision. Why? Because they had no one to ask, no fallback, no, what do you think? They are just there on their own, figuring life as it comes every day. And there's something that happens to them. They decide, they fail, then they rise again. And with each decision, right or wrong, they grow stronger. That's how confidence is built, by trusting your voice, owning your part, learning from the results. I will talk about Steve Harvey, a comedian in the United States, becoming a globally known comedian, talk show host, and conventional speaker. Steve Harvey was homeless and living out of his car for 3 years in the late 1980s, according to a particular story I heard. He struggled to make it in stand-up comedy, often sleeping in parks, lots, and showering at gas stations. There were nights he barely had enough to eat. He was constantly on the verge of giving up. But Steve held on to his vision and believed in his talent. He kept taking small steps, accepting low-paying gigs and refining his craft. That consistent belief in himself and eventually opened the doors that changed his life forever. Now, he's not only successful but also using his story to inspire others, especially those starting from nothing. Another powerful example is Oprah Winfrey. Oprah was born into a poverty rural area and raised by a single teenage mother. She faced unimaginable hardship growing up, abuse, instability, rejection. At just 14, he ran away from home and was sent to a juvenile detention facility. But they had no space to take her. Eventually, she found stability living with her father. From there, she began to rebuild her life. Despite the odds, she trusted her voice. She started small, working at a global radio station as a teenager. That decision led to others, and eventually she became the first black female news anchor at her station. Over time, her authenticity, the emotional intelligence, ability to connect with people turned her into the media mogul and global icon we know today. Oprah is a living example of what someone from the street looks like, not just physically, but from a place of pain, limitation, and hardship, and built a life of purpose by following her instincts, making bold decisions, believing in herself even when no one else did. It's not about being right all the time. Life isn't a game of perfect decision. It's about a journey of alignment. When you choose for yourself, you align with your true self. And that alignment brings peace, even when things don't go exactly as planned. So stop waiting for permission. Stop overthinking it. Stop outsourcing your life to people who don't carry your vision. Start trusting your God. Start owning your choices. And most importantly, please believe in yourself. Because when you begin to make your own decision, your confidence grows, your mind gets clearer, and your life becomes yours, fully and beautifully yours. I know I mentioned this somewhere in the middle of the podcast, but I want to reiterate this because I want to leave you with this in your mind. If at all you need to ask for suggestion, if at all you need an advice, if at all you are at the crossroad and you think you need a professional counsel, so if you are going to ask for help or seek advice, make sure you are asking the right people. Ask professionals. If it's a health issue, ask a doctor. If it's a legal issue, ask a lawyer. If it's about business idea, ask someone who understands the market and the market trends. And if it's about life, ask the giver and the creator of life.